up your loads and make that money flow. Keep the shiny side up wherever we go. Set your own schedule, master of the road. Hauling freedom's cargo, lightening up your load. Tips and tricks for truckers, yeah, we're helping you from dawn till dusk. We'll see it through. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling 60 truckers, yeah, we're helping you from dawn till dusk. We'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. Brother, sister, keep your eyes on that line. From sunrise to moonshine. Owner operators, this show's for you. Tune in, get tips, and roll on through. From diesel fumes to mountain views, we'll guide your way. Hauling grit and glory every single day. On the rubber, feel the freedom in every bend. Driven trucking, your best highway friends. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling 60 truckers, yeah, we're helping you from dawn till dusk. We'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. Every strain. Stay driven.
Morning. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. I sound funny. I'm a little stopped up. It's allergy season, so forgive me. But yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're catching this on the replay, as always, check down in the comment section. The pinned comment will have the timestamp for when the trucking market update actually starts. If you're here, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It would be appreciated. Yeah, I know I'm still a content creator at the end of the day. I gotta ask that. But in return, I'll give you a dad joke of the day. Today's much funnier than the two from yesterday. But what happens when a strawberry gets run over crossing the street? Traffic jam. I think that one's funny. I gotta cover my face. There we go. Traffic jam. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I do appreciate it. My comment section is not working on Streamlabs. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Streamlabs. It's bugging lately. But yeah, not a fan. Didn't want to use it, but kind of at the mercy of what I can do. Thankfully, I've got on my phone, I've got it pulled up, so I'll still be able to see you guys. But yeah, just it's not as accessible today. So bear with me if I'm a little delayed in getting back to you as far as those lanes. If you want to see a certain lane, what that average lane rate is going for, DAT has a tool where I can look and see what it's been doing over, on average over the past 15 days. So I'm happy to do that at the end of the trucking market update. So drop that in the comments if you want to see a specific lane. Be sure and enter where you're at and where you're going, so that way I can pull up both, and in what trailer you're hauling, van, flatbed, or a reefer. I'm happy to look up any of those. So yeah, one thing, I'm a little embarrassed. We're gonna go ahead and dive right in. We're gonna be on the ball today, but I need to thank the sponsor of today's video, which would be DAT. DAT has partnered up with the channel and given me access so that way I can provide these market updates for you guys. They gave me access to the load board. I decided to cover the majority of the market, which would be vans, right? But I'm happy to look up, flatbed or reefer. But the majority of people out there are hauling vans, so trying to help the most people that I can. They were gracious enough to give me access to the load board, and all they asked in return is that if you're considering signing up, use the link down in the description box, and you'll get 10% off for the first 12 months. So check it out. They've got amazing tools, and we'll cover a couple of those tools in today's video. So yeah, let's dive right in. We're going to start with the weather here. Uh, Boom, here we go. And embarrassingly, I didn't cover this yesterday. And I don't know why I was thinking about it, but looking at this, so if you're in the Southeast, if you're here in South Texas, Louisiana, I'm sure Mississippi's going to be affected, as well as probably Alabama and even some of Florida. But we have two tropical storms over here in the Gulf. So be on the lookout for that if you're headed this way, if you're going to be here in the next couple of days, or if you're over here in this general area, even northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, Arkansas, etc. Things Weather tends to move to the northeast down here. So you want to keep an eye out on this southeast region. We've got some rain popping up in, what is that, Nebraska, and looks to be Iowa. So there's some rain over there today. But we're going to scroll forward a little bit, and keep in mind, this is something that you certainly want to double check to see what's going on. This is just more of a heads up situation, right? I got some rain over in Utah, Colorado, and then later, looks like later tonight and into tomorrow. No, this is already for tomorrow, September 10th, 2024. I'm still learning this website, guys. Bear with me. I know we've got some stuff that's going to accumulate up there in the northwest. So it does show a little bit of mix as we get later into the week, but I mean, look at that. That's pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy up here in that northwest. And then it gets pretty heavy down here in the southeast, of course. I mean, with two storms merging, right? So then that tends to move on, and then come about the 12th, you start to see some mix up here in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. So just keep a lookout. Keep a lookout on that weather. It's that way you know what's going. That way you're not surprised. That way your load's not delayed. That way you can get paid. But anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. We got those two significant storms, southeast and northwest. Just be mindful. Moving right in. No, we're not. Oh, wait. Yeah, no. All right, hold on. I've got to re-log in, apparently. I refreshed this page multiple times this morning. So I don't know what's up with that. I've got my verify my identity. I got a little text message with my code because I don't want anybody else logging in on my watch. So let's do that real quick. Sorry, guys. I was already logged in this morning, but my computer was open from yesterday, so for whatever reason, it just kicked me out. No, I logged in about 20 minutes ago, but it's all good. We'll get it straightened out. Just a couple more minutes, or not even a couple minutes, just 30 seconds. We'll be good to go. Where's everybody at today? You making money? You mad at the load you're hauling? I hope nobody's mad. I hope everybody's making money. I know it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. But hey, no reason you can't at least make the most amount of money possible with what you've got to work with. Okay, we're set up here. Sorry about that. So starting off where we normally do, we're looking at the national load counts. And what this is going to be loads in to loads out ratio, but statewide, right? This is going to give us a generic overview of where the best freight is located per state. And then we'll go into what's called a heat map here in a little bit, and that we'll be able to narrow it down to add the actual market. So a good example I like to give is California. California, the entirety of the state is not freight heavy, right? The majority of that's going to be done in the southern part, and sometimes it's over in the San Francisco area, sometimes Sacramento too. But yeah, it's going to be market specific, but this will give us a generic overview. So I like to start here. Alabama, definitely below average, and with the storms coming in, probably just want to stay away if you can. Arkansas, a little bit above that 50% mark, but 294 loads in, 419 out. So still showing decent, right? California above that 50% mark, 1,716 loads in to 2,025 loads out. So you should be able to get a decent rate over there, being above average, being above that 50% line. I use those interchangeably. Connecticut, well below that 50% mark, 237 in, 167 out. DC has doubled their freight today. They now have 4 loads instead of 2 loads headed out of there. So do with that what you. Delaware has freight, 95 loads in, 58 loads out. Not much to talk about. Florida, just wow. 2,258 loads in to 475 loads out. Yeesh. I just don't go there, right? That would be my advice. Just don't go there. Georgia, 1,867 loads into 1,005 loads out. That's way down. They were they were doing much more healthy yesterday. It was probably about 66% loads out per truck, and then today they've certainly fallen below that mark. So that's slipping that southeast area. Not a good spot to be for freight. Iowa still strong for Iowa. 323 loads in and 426 loads out. So strong up there. Negotiate up there in Iowa. Get you a good rate out of there. I know they're posting for pretty decent out of there. They're posting well above the typical spot market. Ask for more. Idaho, 96 loads in, 122 out. We've seen the Northwest pick up a little bit this week, and we'll check Washington and Oregon in a bit, see if that continues. Illinois in really good shape right now, 1,287 loads into 2,006 loads out. So certainly, I'm sure we're going to see that Chicago area is going to be hot, and make them pay for it. I mean, that's so far that load count is so far in the truck driver's favor. It's ridiculous. Don't let the brokers hold out on you. Negotiate in Illinois. Indiana, well above that 50% mark. They've been strong ever since I've started this. It's been about 2.5 weeks ish. But 850 loads into 1,375 loads out. They've kind of been the king. Indiana's been the king of freight since I've started the past few weeks. Kansas above that 50% mark, as it was yesterday, still holding that 273 in of 317 out. Not great, but occasionally you can get a pretty decent paying load coming out of Kansas. So certainly possible at the moment. Kentucky above 50% mark. So it's looking strong. 599 loads in, 756 loads out. So that's looking good. Louisiana, 372 in, 493 out. And that's because all the people are just getting the heck out of the way of those storms that are coming through. So not really a surprise there. If you can, well, you'd actually have to already be there. It's supposed to hit later on this evening. So I wouldn't necessarily go down there just to get something really solid coming out. You will be able to. So if you're headed that way, just be careful, keep an eye on that weather, and then by the time you get there, should be able to get a really good rate coming out of there, hopefully. Massachusetts, 484 loads in, 270 out. Maryland, 390 loads in, 366 out. So it stayed about the same. Maine seems to be climbing up that ladder, 99 loads in to 70 loads out. So that's interesting. It's gaining ground despite more loads in to more loads out. I think people are just used to bouncing out of there for a load. Not a lot of people haul out of that Maine whenever they take a high paying load up there. Michigan, 650 loads in to 818 loads out. So it has actually spread its distance a little bit. More freight popping up there. So Michigan's remains a good state today. Minnesota still remains a good state. 507 loads in to 623 loads out. So that's solid. Missouri gaining ground. 614 loads in to 743 out. That's solid. Mississippi, it's doing well as well. I have to also go back. I think that it's related to that storm, but 288 loads in, 342 out. Montana, they're about 50-50 at 57, 54. North Carolina has slipped 1,204 loads in, 791 out. So looking rough. But we have found where you can get all the money, and that's going to be North Dakota. And this has really kind of just, it's been this way for the past few weeks. 33 loads into 203 loads out. If you're hauling cheap out of North Dakota, you're not trucking right. I'm just going to put it that way. Do not settle. Period. End of story. Don't believe the brokers if they're telling you they can't get you more. They're full of crap. Especially with that ratio right there. That's impressive. Nebraska 180 in to 135 out. New Hampshire 116 in, 25 out. So that's pretty rough. Find a different load or find a load in a different state other than New Hampshire. Jersey picking it up a little bit. Wasn't great yesterday, and the overall loads are below average. We like to see Jersey about that 1,500, 1,600 mark, but it has 776 into 1,112 coming out. So still, it's above 50%, but not as good as normal. At least not as much freight as normal. So that could be hit or miss as far as getting a good load out of there. New Mexico, 165 in to 89 out. Not bad, actually, for New Mexico. Nevada, 194 in to 310 out. That's pretty constant, I think. So you Californians over there probably wearing that lane out from Southern California over to Las Vegas and back. Not a bad little route, actually. So Ohio, 1,384 in to 1,811 out. Typical Ohio, right? Pretty solid. For Oklahoma, 469 in to 253 out. Pretty low. Yeah. Oregon, 230 in to 388 out. So we've now got Oregon and Idaho looking strong in that Northwest. So seems freight's picking up there. Pennsylvania, 1,471 loads in to 1,815 out. That's above average in the loads in, but it's also above average on the loads out. So Pennsylvania, good state. Rhode Island, 102 to 47 out. South Carolina, 625 in to 607 out. So between Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina, not looking very good over there. South Carolina, in the past couple of weeks, picks it up towards the end of the week, and even supersedes that or goes beyond that 50% mark. So it being below average this week, not a good look for the dirty South over there. South Dakota, 70 loads in, 94 out. That's decent, right? But given what we know about North Dakota, if you're headed to South Dakota, I'd highly recommend you look for something up in North Dakota. Looks like even it'll certainly pay for that bounce and make them pay for it. Make them pay for it. Tennessee, 877 loads in to 566 loads out. And that's just meh for Tennessee. Texas, 3,348 trucks headed this way, and only 2,740 loads headed out. So do with that what you will. Despite living here, Texas is just not the greatest spot for freight. It drives me nuts. You would think that with one of the biggest ports in the United States that it would be solid, but it's not. Utah, 230 loads in, 149 out. Virginia, below the mark at 714 in to 631 out. Vermont, 38 in, 43 out. That's not a lot of freight there. There's really not a ton of negotiating power up there. Washington, 322 in, 403 out. So Northwest certainly looking good. Also, the northern part of the Midwest looking really good, with Wisconsin coming in at 734 in to 1,162 out. So, just kind of the northern part of the United States is where you want to be at the moment, especially before it starts snowing everywhere and getting all nasty and people not driving properly and causing pileups for days. So be careful up there. West Virginia, 105 in to 142 outs. They're back above that 50% mark. They slipped a little bit earlier or yesterday. In Wyoming, 36 loads into 76 loads out. So, I mean, it's Wyoming, right? Let's stop for a minute and say hello to everyone that's in here. Good morning, Haas. Good morning, Work Harder. Kaj G, not sure if I said that properly, but two trucks Cali out to Houston, I'm gonna assume that that's gonna be Southern California, so I'll pull up the Los Angeles market here when I get to that portion of that. We don't have too much more to go through, but I'll look that up for you. Work harder, Saskatchewan this morning, making money. Heck yeah, man. Very nice. Josh the vegan, howdy y'all, howdy, howdy, howdy. Cash, cash. Good morning, man. Flatbed rate bucks from West Coast and East Coast under $2. Oh, sucks. Flatbed rate sucks from West Coast. Really? That's surprising, Cash. Let's go ahead and move on because I getting this late in the week already. I go through this page, but I don't really. I just kind of skim over it because this doesn't change that much. But we'll have a look at this. Um, so looking at flatbed load to truck, right? Last week it was up 8%. And looking at now this is August, right? But August of this year compared to August of last year, the load to truck ratio is up 20%. Now, watch this. So we've got more loads to trucks. So what that means is that the demand is better in the truck driver's favor. But yet when we go to spot rates, week over week, it's only up 1.5%, and it's actually down 4% from August of this year to August of last year. What does that tell me? That tells me that that's a truck driver negotiating problem, right? Um, that's what that points out. And the problem is it's a cascading effect because when truck drivers are willing to haul it for cheap, it devalues it later on, and that broker will hold out because they know that there's a truck driver out there that'll haul it for cheap, right? So despite loads being way up, I mean 20%, that's massive. The spot rate is still down. But when we go down and look at the actual spot rates, right? So it's the average in the United States is $2.44 a mile, and that's up three pennies from last month, which is $2.41. And East Coast freight, yeah, like I could see that if it's below average, but like, man, that's really cheap. And this isn't what those shippers are actually paying for these loads, right? This is what the broker is posting these loads for on here. So that's not what the actual shippers are paying. They're paying well over $3 a mile. We all know that. But this is what you should be making right here, man. Averaging when it's all said and done. But then, especially once you get over to the West Coast. Now, what I will say is that if you're running east to west, you're never going to make as much money. The money is made north and south. Okay. And East Coast is really not even made north and south. East Coast, it's all you got to run 1 day hops. And it sucks as a flatbed. No, been there, done that, especially when you're tarping all freaking week. It's rough. But those 1 day hops should be where it's at. And that should, kind of get that rate per mile up for you. But over in the West Coast, which I ran a lot, right? I would run out of Houston and then I'd run over the West Coast. And sometimes I'd stay over there. Sometimes I'd head straight back. Kind of depends on what load, that I had. But over there, the money is certainly made north and south. You should be able to bounce from kind of that Oregon area, sometimes Washington, down to LA. You'll be able to do that all day long, man, for 250 plus. Now, obviously, I'm not out there doing it, so maybe they're holding out a little more than what they should be. But kind of given what I'm seeing over here, this is the average across the United States. But with fuel being so much higher over there on the West Coast, they have to pay more, right? They've got to balance out that average. So I mean, I would think that it's possible. Um, yeah, man. Good luck. Good luck searching for better freight over there. That's why I do this. So that way you're armed with the knowledge. That way you can negotiate harder or position the truck, a little bit differently and make more money. So Godspeed, my friend. But yeah, looking at this, that should definitely be way more than that. August rates fall compared to July. That's a nice little headline to read. Um, and price of fuel $3.65 across the nation. Of course, we all know it's way more expensive over on the West Coast. So now this is the heat map that I was referring to earlier. What this does is shows us the actual markets that are better than the rest, right? Um, what was it like? I mean, this is an obvious example and a really easy one, but Kansas, Kansas was showing above that 50% mark, or that 50% mark, but all the freights over here near Kansas City, as opposed to the rest of the state. Not a big surprise, right? But anyway, it the Northwest was red yesterday. Portland area, this little market right here was red. It's showing average now, but looking at the load to truck ratios over there, this should still be hot. This should still be hot, with Idaho above average, Oregon as well as Washington sitting above that 50% mark. Don't settle, man. Don't settle, ladies and gentlemen. You should be getting more money running out of here than average. That's I don't like seeing that. Looking over here in California, yep, all the freights down here in the Los Angeles market, or this very Southern California, as well as that San Francisco market. Over here in Texas, of course, the freights in Houston and Dallas, and it's actually spread out a little bit. You're seeing above average west of Dallas, and you're seeing above average way down there in the valley, down south. Looking over here, Louisiana, the bottom half of the state is red, and that's because they've got those storms there. Nobody wants to, nobody wants to put their truck in harm's way of old Mother Nature. So, the freight's all down south. What I would like to do, or what I'd liked to do, if I could do it, if I could swing it, I wouldn't go out of my way to do it. But like for instance, if I was headed back and I was wanting to go back home at the moment, rather than going straight back to Houston, I would follow a storm. So I would pick a load. Now I'm not going to pick a load going back, to Louisiana if I'm up here in the Northeast, because I don't want to drive straight through all that heavy rain, right? But if I was over here in the west, so anywhere, or even probably north, I'd probably run straight south down to it. But anything east of the Mississippi, I'd probably just try to. I'd probably try to run straight west and go south down to Houston. But anyway, what I like to do is I like to follow a storm. I would try to, rather than taking a load, back somewhere in Texas, I would try to grab one going all the way over here into Louisiana, and then I would pick up an extra load, even though it's a short hop back to Houston. You can still, because they're going to have extra freight over there. They've got to get it moved. You can oftentimes negotiate and get a much better rate than what it's typically paying. So that was a neat little trick that would usually net me an extra 300-400 bucks. And I mean, hey, that's a PM, right? So I liked I liked to do that. Looking over here, if you're gonna go, Tennessee, Arkansas, of course, keep it around Memphis if you can. That's where the freight's gonna be located. And on the Arkansas side, because we showed that Tennessee was way below average, but Arkansas was doing well, right? And then up here, which this is fascinating to me, given how hot Chicago market is, it's still showing average. I don't really understand why. Let me see if I can refresh this maybe. Force reload. We don't think we want to do that. We're just gonna leave it like it is. But anyway, Chicago area was hot, or Illinois, right? But I mean, you can see that down here near the Taylorville market, like there's not a ton of freight down there. So it is showing that the Evansville market is hot, but once again, there's just not enough freight down there to affect the entirety of Illinois. So leads me to believe that actual Chicago market is hotter than usual, or at least hotter than it has been. And then we've got the king over here, Indiana. has been really solid. And if you can't find a load out of Indiana, you can always go over to Ohio because Ohio is in really good shape as well. The freight over in Pennsylvania is on the eastern side. And New Jersey was kind of heating up a little bit, but it looks like the northern part of New Jersey. I'm not familiar with van freight coming out of New Jersey. It was not fun for me to haul a van over there, so I didn't. Right. I had to do it earlier in my career, but later on, when I had the actual decision, I just didn't go. And then, of course, you've got what is that? The Elizabeth Market. That stretches down in Jersey, but no, it actually doesn't go all the way up to New York. So, anyway, those are the hotter markets that we're looking at. So, that's it. I appreciate you guys tuning in for the quick rundown here. C1, good morning. How's it going? Let's look up that lane for you real quick. If you're still hanging around. It was, oh yeah, we're gonna look up Los Angeles because I'm sure we'll just cover it. We'll stretch the deadhead out a couple 100 miles. That way I'll make sure that I'll actually cover wherever it is that you're headed out. And this gives us an average, right? So it'll average all of those markets in that 200-mile deadhead radius. We're not going to put a weight in, but we're going to be a 53-foot van. And then let's give it a look. And then right here, this lane rate right here is going to show on average from Los Angeles to Houston, Texas right now is $3,384 with an average of $2.19 per mile. So if you're not getting that, it's below average. Let's have a look and see what's posted. So you can run COI, City of Industry, COI to Victoria right now, 40,000 pound load for $3,400. So that's above the lane rate, not by much, but it is above it. And it looks like you don't have to jump through hoops on this load. So, I mean, that's solid. And yeah, given how much is posted here, I mean, 54 results, I would absolutely try to negotiate a better rate. That's just crazy. Then you got San Bernardino. So you may have to bounce to pick this one up. It's got 2 drops on it, but cannot be that bad. Doesn't look like I can see where those drops are located, so I would certainly ask. But if they're close to each other down here in Houston, that's a solid load because it only weighs 16,800 pounds. Not only is it above that spot market average, I mean it's pretty solid. You should be able to make really good time and do well over 600 miles a day on that load. It looks like they posted it multiple times. You got a van or reefer load. So this one's light. Yep, 30,000 pounds from Bakersfield to Houston, posted for $3,700. So see, they're posting these rates well above. Wait a minute, no. So this spot rate here is showing $4,455 out of Bakersfield running to Houston. That seems high, honestly. $2.69 per mile is what this market has averaged the Fresno market to Houston market for the last 15 days. So I mean that's showing well below. Where was the San Bernardino? Okay, so it's above average. 32.29, which is below the average lane rate up here for the entirety of these markets. But $3,500. I mean, that one's above. But if I was calling on this Bakersfield load, I'd be like, hey, man, this has been averaging for the last 15 days 44.55. Where's the money at? And I mean, that's exactly how I talked to these brokers. Where's the money at? Like, what are you doing? Scotland Transport. Fontana to Brookshire. Brookshire's over here on the west side, which I'm in the west side. I just kind of gave that away. Posted at $3,200. Average spot rate's $31.58. At 43,400 pounds, there's better loads out there, right? There's lighter loads. I mean, here's a 35,000 pound load. Omega Freight Solutions. And if they come back, must be set up. Oh, no, Landstar. That's fascinating. I mean, obviously, I never noticed that. No they wouldn't run Landstar, but it's so weird. Fast loading and fast unloading. So when I called up, you know, a load like this, and he's got it posted for 3,100, but the average spot rate showing 3,300. You know, talk to him and ask him, like, look, why is this posted below the average spot rate, especially when the load to truck ratio is better in California. Um, it's high up there. Why do you have this posted low? There's multiple other loads that are paying well above the spot market, the spot rate. Why is this posted low? And if they come back at you, like let's say this load was 20,000 pounds. If they are trying to negotiate with you saying that it's a light load, don't don't take that BS, right? Because they don't pay by weight. That's not how shipping works. It's paid by truckload. And this is a full, you can see right here, it's a full truckload. So they're paying for the entirety of the trailer, which means that you can't haul anything else with it. You can't grab an LTL, something else small to fill up the truck. I mean, 35,000 pounds is likely going to be full, but do not let them use the excuse that, oh, it's a light load. And so what? You're paying for the entire truckload. Shipping's not done by weight. So anyway, there's some loads headed out of there and headed down. So C1, I know you know what you're doing, man. Uh, I know you're out there killing it, which is awesome. Hope everything's going well for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, I guess that's it. I was able to kind of knock it out in a relatively expedient fashion this morning. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I do appreciate it. Hit that like button, please, on your way out. Yeah, and that's it. Keep the shiny side up, guys. Stay driven. See you tomorrow.